and you all know what time it is. It's time to
Unzip those jeans!
Today we're going to be talking about cystic fibrosis, which is a progressive and chronic genetic disease. Cystic fibrosis, or CF, is a disease that causes chronic lung infections as well as other problems in the body. This disease can literally take your breath away. For this episode, we are lucky enough to follow the story of Sally Smith, and we'll be starting off with a clip from her diagnosis.
Woo! Hi, Miss Smith.
Hi.
My name's Kayla. I'll be your PAS for today. Who's this?
This is my daughter, Sally. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Sally. Nice to meet you. What brings you in today?
So I would say recently she's just been getting like really shortness of breath and coffee, and I just thought it was a cold originally, and so I didn't bring her in, but like it's gotten worse.
Okay, and so the coughing is your main concern, right?
Yeah, I would say coughing and just really shortness of breath. Like it's really hard for her to like play with the kids on the playground.
Okay. Does anything come up when she is coughing? Do you notice?
Honey, does anything come up when you cough? Like, is there any like stuff in your mouth after you cough?
Yeah, but I just swallow it.
Okay. And you said she's feeling shortness of breath. Is this all the time?
I would say yes. Like, she can't play on the playground like she normally used to with the kids, and just like during soccer now, like she used to be able to run all day, but now she just like runs up to the sideline to me saying that she like really can't breathe.
Okay.
Is it when you play on the playground, or is it all the time?
Yeah, when I wake up.
Okay, and have you noticed when she's breathing any wheezing or abnormal sounds coming from her?
I would say yes. It like kind of sounds like a little bit of asthma. My younger sister had asthma growing up, so something like a little bit like that.
Okay, and just thinking about how she sounds relatively weak throughout the day, have you noticed her maybe not gaining weight like she should or looking smaller compared to other kids?
I mean, now that you mentioned it, she was diagnosed with pneumonia maybe like a year ago from now.
Okay.
And then she was treated for that. That was all better. But ever since then, she hasn't been seeming to gain weight. I mean, she eats, but just like compared to like the kids in her grade, no, she hasn't been gaining any weight.
Right, okay. And I know this can be a lot of questions, so if you want to take a break or anything, let me know.
Thank you.
As far as bowel movements go, I'm not sure if you've been noticing or observing them, but have you seen what they look like or noticed anything irregular with those?
I mean, they like seem to like float more at the top of the toilet and like maybe like a little bit greasy, but I didn't know to look.
Okay. And just moving forward, I think I have a better idea of what we're dealing with. And I know you come from a rural town, so do they ever offer genetic testing for you for either you or your daughter?
They mentioned something when I was pregnant about it, but I was just always like really scared. And then, I mean, now if that's what we have to do, that's what we have to do. I just want her to feel better.
Okay, totally. So I think today our best bet would to be take some of her cheek samples as well as yours. So I'll just use a Q-tip and swab it inside of your mouth.
Okay.
We'll get some samples and send them away, and then we'll have you meet with a genetics counselor.
Okay.
And she'll be able to explain whatever's going on and figure out the best thing for you and Sally.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. Let's do that then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello and welcome back to
Unzip those jeans!
So following Sally's story, about a week after that appointment, the Smiths found out that Sally does indeed have cystic fibrosis. Devastating. Just imagine one day your perfectly, seemingly healthy child is now going to be facing illness for the rest of her life. Today on Unzip Those Genes, we are joined by top-ranked genetic counselor and genetic counselor for the Smith family, Sarah Martino. Thanks for coming today.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you for having me today.
So cystic fibrosis, this disease, a lot of people have heard about it but don't know about it. Can you just share with us a little about it?
Yeah, of course. So cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease. It's caused by a mutation in the CFTR gene, which results in either an absent or a malformed CFTR protein. As a result of this abnormality, the protein cannot perform its key functions in the cells in the body. So those functions are to create channels on the cell surface to allow chloride to move in and out. But because of this balance, the chloride and fluid is abnormal in a cell.
So what happens with this imbalance?
So because of this imbalance, it causes very thick, sticky mucus to build up in the lungs, the pancreas, and other organs in the body, resulting in the classic symptoms that we saw with Sally earlier. So this mucus, it clogs your airways to make it really hard to breathe, can trap bacteria, leading to infections, so like her pneumonia, and extensive lung damage and respiratory failure, even if it's untreated. And then it could also build up in the pancreas, preventing the release of digestive enzymes, so the body can't break down food or absorb nutrients, which is why it was seen that Sally couldn't gain weight.
Interesting. Very interesting. I never knew that before. After this commercial break, we are going to be joined by Jeannie and Sally themselves to talk a little bit more about cystic fibrosis.
Woo! Having trouble reaching the top of your Christmas tree this season? No worries, we have the 2800 Stool 2.0 for you! Woo! For only $9.99, you can own this quality piece of merchandise, newly patented, that'll fix all of your Christmas needs this holiday season.
Welcome back and welcome everybody. Thank you guys for being here and thank you for being so willing to share your journey with us. I know you guys have been working together. Can you just tell me what have been some of like the major questions and stuff that you've been wondering about this disease?
I mean, I'm just speechless about the whole thing. It just came as such a shock. I didn't know what it was. Like, I thought it was a cold before this. I mean, how did this happen?
So as we have talked about a little before, cystic fibrosis is an autosomal recessive condition. So what that does mean is in order for Sally to have had this, she needed two abnormal genes passed down, one from each parent. So you can kind of see in this chart, you have two carriers, the mom and the dad, and that produces one child who, when they get both, have cystic fibrosis, if everyone can see.
Zoom in on that, Jerry.
Why didn't I have symptoms?
So, as I said, it's autosomal recessive, which means that you need two copies of the mutated gene to get the symptoms. So, because you are only a carrier, you only had one copy, and so you weren't producing symptoms so that makes you just a carrier. Yeah.
I know they swabbed my cheek when I was at the doctor's for the genetic testing, and they swabbed her cheeks too. But was there anything that I could have done, like, before that whole thing? Like,
yeah, so typically, I know you guys are from a rural area. We've talked about this. But pregnant couples or those planning on getting pregnant are often offered genetic testing like that to see if they are cystic fibrosis carriers and also for a number of other genetic conditions that are passed on very similarly to this one. So they do that genetic testing, and then if both parents are found to be carriers, they're offered prenatal or testing for the baby itself to see if that baby actually does have cystic fibrosis. And in screenings like that, they only will let you know if both parents are found to be carriers, because if only one is, then you're not going to have a child with cystic fibrosis.
so I could have done this when I was pregnant if I got like an amniocentesis.
Yeah, or even just the simple cheek swab right before you got, if you were planning the pregnancy beforehand, or a cheek swab at the time that you did get pregnant.
Interesting. So, speaking of Sally, this cannot have been easy for her, and she's so young. You are so young and so strong. Thank you for being here. Could you tell us a little bit about how the treatment's going?
Well, I'm on lots of medications, and sometimes I have to go and see the PA, and she loosens up my phlegm, and then I feel better.
I feel so much better.
And that was just a look at some of Sally's treatment. Incredible. Well, that's all for us today on
Unzip those jeans!
Thank you so much for joining us today, all of you, and thank you, all of you, for joining us today. We just have one more quick message from Sally Smith after this.
Please log on to www.cff.org for more information on cystic fibrosis, the genetics behind it, and support groups.